We now bring you a special market and ETF report.
Now, two of the questions I've been getting lately is why is the Russell underperforming and how can I select a better ETF to use with the index trading system? And so today I'm going to answer these two questions for you in this video. So let's get started. Now, first we should understand what underperforming is. Has it been underperforming the past month, the 3 months, the past year? So we're going to need to set some parameters here before we continue with this video. All right, so when it comes to measuring an underperforming index, what time frame do you use? Do you use throughout history? Do you use a 1 month, a 3 month, a year to date? It's all pretty arbitrary. So what I like to do when I do analyzing of anything is I like to look at periods in the market, and the market's broken down into bull and bear periods. And you don't want to analyze bull and bear together because you won't get some accurate descriptions. And you don't want to analyze just a subsection of the bull market because you won't get an accurate representation. So you should do the full bull market, and every bull market could be different than other bull markets, so I like to work with the most recent bull market. And here at the index trading system, we have the major trend, and we have on here two indicators. And this one here, our first one, is showing us the bull market started on October 6th, and this one also agreed with it and said it started on October 6th. So we're going to analyze the three indexes, the Russell, the NASDAQ, and the S&P, how they are performing in this bull market. Okay, does that make sense? So we're going to cover the whole bull market, and that has been about 10 months now. All right, so as you can see on this little chart here, I've got bull market. It's going to be October 6th until Friday, close of Friday, August 13th. And here are the S&P, the NASDAQ, and the Russell. Now, the other parameter I'm going to do, we're only going to stick to alerts on the upside. So with the S&P, we'll be using UPRO, the NASDAQ will be using TQQQ, and the Russell will be using TNA, which is the default for the index trading system. Now, we're not going to do any analyzation on the downside because we don't want to mix the two. We could do the analyzation on the downside separate, but I don't want to mix them together. So again, we're going to just do this upside. And now, during this current bull market, we can see from October 6th to August 13th, the S&P has risen 32.86%. And if we look at the NASDAQ, it's 32.98%. So they both have done almost identical, just 1/10 of a percentage difference. And now, for the Russell. Let's get the drum roll, please. And the Russell did 40.94. S&P and the NASDAQ are the ones that are underperforming. Okay, this is a weekly chart of the Russell 2000. And as you can see, it ended the week here of 8/15 right here. And if we come all the way back to here, that was January 31st. So basically from January 31st to 8/15, which is almost 7 months, it's gone just sideways. It's gained 40% in 10 months, but it's gone sideways 7 months. So those big gains came in the first 3 months. And now the other ones are just catching up. And so now what I've done right here is I've posted all the time periods we were in the upside. And here are the returns of UPRO and TQQQ. These are, again, just the upsides. And you can see that they're both been very similar. They both came off with a 25% gain on the first one. They kind of mellowed out on the next two, a little bit different on this one, and then the third one. So basically with the S&P, the last two trades are about the same as the last two over here. But how did the Russell do? Now you can see the Russell is a little bit different. It started off huge, continued with another second great run, and then just kind of petered out since then. Now, when I invented the index trading system, I not only wanted a great return, but I also wanted to spread the gains out over the time so that no matter when you begin your index trading subscription, you will have gains. And you can see here, the only one that really achieved that was the S&P 500. So pretty much no matter where you started, you would have had a gain. Whereas with the Russell, if you started at the beginning, oh boy, you cleaned up and made out like a bandit. But if you missed those first two trades and you started here in February, then it has been a downhill run for you since then. And that's not because the Russell is underperforming. It's just because for some reason it got all its gains in up in here, and now it's just gone sideways while the others are starting to catch up. Now, what is our overall gain on this? Now, this is another parameter I want to tell you about. These results here are based on the system returns, not actual user gains. So more than likely you'll probably get less than this, but just to show you the total here, you can see again both of these did almost the same, even though there was a 3-month period on the NASDAQ where you really didn't go anywhere, but you still made more than the UPRO because you had a couple of big gains in here and UPRO didn't have as many. Now let's take a look at the TNA and the Russell of what it came out with. Now it comes out with an 80.88, so you see it's not that far away from the NASDAQ and the S&P, even though it's been going sideways since January. Normally the Russell 2000 would have these gains spread out, but unfortunately in this bull market it decided to do a little bit different and then put all of its gains in the beginning and then take a breather before it will rally again. And we kind of see that on the NASDAQ over here. It took off, went down a little bit, took a breather, and now it exploded again. So I'm expecting that probably on the next trade we'll see the TNA explode. But now my next question is, how do you select one of these settings? Well, for example, right here, you could just pick any one of these. So you see, it really didn't even matter. You just pick one and stick with it and do it during the whole market, okay? So do it during a whole bull market, do it during a whole bear market. And as you can do that, you can see no matter which one you picked, you would have probably got very similar results. Okay, in the Russell, you would have got your gains in the beginning. The next deck, you're getting them down here at the end. The S&P, they were kind of spread out over all three of them. But they all end up pretty much in the same place again. But just to give you, and I promised an ETF selection, let's just give you a way that you can increase these and make it very, very simple to pick an ETF. Okay, now let me show you what's going on in this example, okay? So in this example, the market just started. So why don't you trade all three of them? Because you don't know which one is going to take off. So if you were to divide your portfolio in thirds when a new bull or bear market starts and you put them on all three of the ETFs, you would have these three right here. And then after that period ends on 11/27, you are going to take the top performing one, which is over here at the Russell, and you're going to trade the TNA during the next uptrend in the bull market. Does that make sense? And then we repeat it. So from 12/3 to 12/31, here comes in the results. TNA again did the best with 21%, so we're going to use it again in the next one. And then in this time, it returned 810, which is still the best return, so we're going to do it for the next one. And then in this one, it came out as the worst return, and UPRO was the better return. So now in the next alert for TNA and go to the upside, we're going to use UPRO instead. And if you had followed this simple strategy, you would have started off with a 36% gain on your very first one. That was the average between these three. And then instead of just adding these numbers up, assuming we're adding an equal amount for each trade, personally, I like to do it different. I'm in this for growth, not for income. So I'm going to start a portfolio, and whatever money I have when I I sell it. So here I would have, let's say I started with 100 and I had a 36% gain. I now have $136. I roll all of that into the next one, and then I roll all of that into the next one, and I roll all of that to the next one and to the next one. And at the end, I would have a 102.91% gain. So it's about 10% better, 20% better than just using TNA. So it's not much more of a gain, it's a bit more of a work, but this is one strategy that you can use. Now here is another one. Instead of using the best performing one, we're going to use the one that performed in the middle. So again, we start with our three ETFs because we don't have anything to know what finished in the middle. And at the end of this period, 11/27, we look at the results and we can see that UPRO finished in the middle. So we're going to use UPRO for the next up signal, next up alert that we get. And this time, actually, we look at the three again, and TQQ has the middle return, so we're going to use it for the next one. And that time, and out of that one, we made 272, and that happened again to be in the middle, so we use it again. And there we go. And that's again in the middle, so we use it again. So following this one, again, we start with a 36.13% gain, roll all the funds into the other ones, and we end up with a 103. So if we do this with the best performing one, each up alert, we have 102. If we do it with the middle ones, we have 103. So again, very simple. It doesn't really matter. Just pick any one. All right, so in this instance, what I'm doing is I'm going to say we are the worst trader in the world, and we're trying to pick a winning ETF, and for somehow we always end up picking the loser, okay? And so we've laid the losers out here. In this period, the worst performing one was TQQ, and we decided we didn't want to do all three. We just didn't want to do one, so we said we're going to do TQQ, and we ended up with the worst performance. So we said, screw that. You know what? This UPRO did better. I'm going to go over here with UPRO. So you do UPRO the next one, and you pick the loser again. And you said, well, it can't lose twice in a row. I'm going to stay with my UPRO. And it loses again. And you said, holy smoly, look at this Russell. It's had three great big wins. I'm going to do it. So you jump over here and you lose. And you go, oh man, it's got to rebound. So you do it again and you lose. So here we are picking the worst one in each time. And what would our return be? 16.7%. You know, we're only in the market here. This bull market is 10 months. But if you add up the times we were actually in the market, it's only 8 months. So for 8 months, we have a 16.7% return. That comes out annualized to 20 or 22%. So you hear all the time these financial experts offering you in your retirement, try to get 6 or 10%. Even if you're the worst picker in the world picking ETFs for the index trading system, you're going to do double what these experts are saying in the stock market. So again, folks, this is not about rocket science. Just pick anything and you really can't lose unless you have that really bad luck. But even then, it's not a loss. Now, some of you are saying, well, I shouldn't have to do all that. I just want to do what I saw when I signed up. And that's just fine. Then do the TNA right here, but don't go getting upset if you're not making any money, because as you see here, it's doing the same as the others. So just give it some time. It's really not that much hard just to give this up and come over here to the UPRO, which has never had a loser and actually made a little bit more money. So every time you get an alert for TNA, you buy UPRO instead. It's really that simple. But here's what's going on with the index trading system. When I put up my results, I can't be jumping all around from different settings to different ETFs. You know, new subscribers, they see that, they get confused. They said, oh, I can't make no heads or tails. So this is impossible. It's crazy. So on my website, I pick a default setting and I stick with it because I know in the long run we will be ahead. And sure enough, I'm right. We're up 80.88% just on the upside only. And so I don't have to worry about jumping around or picking one, you see. I could have just stayed with TQQ the whole time or go with UPRO. You're still going to get the same alerts. You're still using the same setting. You're just using a different ETF. So just pick one and stick with it. You don't need to be jumping all around. Even though I talk about that, because some people, they might want to increase their returns. Maybe they don't want 90 or 80. They might want that 102 and 103, so they want to try and jump around. That's fine. but you don't have to do this. You can do just what we do. And I wanted to tell you that I can't show that on the website because people would just not subscribe and they would quit. They would be confused, and then I couldn't be helping anybody. Impossible to do any worse unless for some reason you have the worst luck in the world and you pick the losing one each time. But even then, it was a nice, respectable 20% return, 22% annualized. All right, so that's the end. I hope this will help you understand a little bit about the markets and a little bit about ETF selection for the index trading system. And I'll see you in my next video.